good team, your scouting staff has to identify guys from a character standpoint and an ability standpoint that fit your system. When you have a system and you know how you want to play, you look for the character and the talent that fits your system. I look at Toronto the last few years. Siakam, you know, they found OG when nobody thought, and everybody did a great job with them. You know, Pirtle was a relatively high pick, but, you know, a guy that looks really good in the system now and is learning how to play. DeLon Wright was in the 20s. Norman Powell was identified as a second-round guy. Fred VanVleet came out of nowhere, wasn't drafted, showed up.
About VanVleet. I mean, what a wonderful story he is. 18 points, 15 minutes, don't doubt him. Bet on yourself, as he says.
My main role with the team is generally based around roster building. I'm assistant GM and VP of player personnel for the Raptors. The side of that is GM of the 905 team. For both teams, it's mainly being a key guy and suggesting names and doing whatever it takes to find the right players for the Raptors.
The last call for New Jersey Transit, 2:46 p.m. North.
You know, this is a position that, with the success that we've had and the notoriety that the Raptors get as a team, a lot of that, you know, puts some pressure on us as a front office and myself as well in terms of making smart decisions and taking this team to the next level. And I think that naturally, you know, pressure comes along with that. And I wouldn't say that it's a stressful job any more than, you know, there's some pretty stressful jobs out there in the real world that, you know, all I deal with is basketball. But in terms of the types of pretty high level decisions that need to be made around this thing, like it comes with a lot of pressure for that. Certain trips more than others are exactly a planes, trains, and automobiles sort of lifestyle, because how's it going? Especially in the Northeast, it's actually easier to just jump on a train and get from venue to venue. Sometimes it's almost on the doorstep of an arena, which is nice. We're just trying to look for the arena, Carnesecca Arena. So we could probably just jump out right here, and then we could find it from here. You know, a lot of times it's some of the key players are in kind of random college towns that you can only catch commuter flights from connection airports, and nothing's that smooth. And anytime you're dealing with that many moving parts, you know, you're dealing with delays and weather and mechanical issues and all of the above at the same time. The biggest misconception with scouts is that we're always out trying to find the next guy, trying to see, you know, the guy that no one's heard of. Honestly, like, it's kind of more about like crossing guys off the list. You know, people that everyone else knows. There's lists everywhere online. Like, it's really rare that people kind of show up out of nowhere. So we go out and we see the people that everyone's talking about, and we say who isn't good enough, really, like who won't fit the Toronto Raptors culture, who doesn't have the it that we're looking for. You know, that's kind of the main thing with scouting is there's a lot of judgment going on. Like, we're really, you know, it's a pretty big business, so we're doing our best to try and not make mistakes.
Thank you for supporting St. John's basketball, please. Get home safely.
A lot of time away from home, as you could expect. You know, that's probably the toughest thing to deal with. I don't know how scouts did it before. Video chat like that's been the savior. But it's you know, you're going around, you're following every year it's to different locations because it's wherever the talent's at. And so throughout the season you've got, you know, you try to see the key players early on and then see them again later in the season to be able to kind of evaluate them, their progression throughout the season. And then, you know, you're just traveling around. It's kind of there's a circle of scouts that you see out on the road all the time in different regions, and it's like a little community of guys doing the same circuit that you are. Hey, Sean, Dan Tolzman, the Raptors. How are you, man? Hey, you got a moment to book some travel for me? Okay, so I will be doing a trip to Texas at the start of February. I've got a doubleheader on Saturday. So basically, the latest flight I can get into Houston the night of the 2nd. You're just grinding, really. Like it's a lot of energy being used in things that are out of your control. You know, sitting at airports, dealing with weather delays, driving hours between games. You know, you don't get the posh charters and hotels like they do on the NBA team side. You know, you do a lot of individual planning, and you spend a lot of time out on the road on your own, just, you know, kind of thinking about things, and it helps for me from a Raptor standpoint. Like I do a lot of kind of reflecting on where the team's at, and when I'm out scouting players, like it kind of helps being in your own little world to really think about what the team needs and how these guys that I'm seeing, how they can fit, and kind of going from there. What's up, guys? What's up? What up? How are you?
Good.
Nate, what up, bud?
What's going on? You all right?
Absolutely. Ankle?
Yeah.
You all right?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Playing well right now, man. How was the game last night? How was the game last night? It was good.
I was working in the PR department, and I had no idea. Basically, I just started getting emails from this person, you know, like I knew Dan a little bit from my time before, but I started getting emails and suggestions, and, you know, like very interesting stuff that I would read, and it so happened that I couldn't hire anybody at the time, and he became an interesting person in-house, you know, like that I could shift from one department to come to basketball operations department, and that's how it all started. He started off as just organizing in the scouting department, trips, schedules, all that stuff, database, and you could see the mind, you can see the growth, you can see the process, you can see the details. Just there are smart guys, there's basketball smart guys, there's street smart guys, he's a combination of all, you know, like, which I think is really interesting. He's mostly behind the scenes guy, but he can be in front too, you know, like as you've seen with 905, you know, I think is very telling, you know, like some of the low success with the team.
What's up, guys? Thanks for making the trip down. Look at this, got the whole crew. How'd you get guys down here? Take the train?
Had a car.
Okay, I took the train down from New York this morning.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I was at the St. John's Creighton game last night.
Who won?
Creighton did.
And for me, I mean, I'm biased because I didn't work with a lot of people, but for a coach, general manager type situation, you couldn't ask for a better guy, man. I think he's always, you know, ask him, inquisitive of what you think. He may have an idea of what it is, and like, let me run this by you. But I think he's inclusive. I mean, I think first and foremost, but all the pieces that he's bringing to the table, you just almost can like say, okay, which one? Because he's always right, and from the standpoint, he knows guys. He has a special talent from that standpoint.
You have to have opportunity to me in life, you have to explore, you have to push areas, boundaries that you've never seen, and I look at that love, that passion, look in their eyes and you see it, in these people, and you see what that their overall, mentality is winning, is being part of a big time program, is wanting to grow a big time program, and that's where I saw Dan. He's a big picture guy. And I love that winning is important. I see how he gets, when he's watching the 905 game, and the damn Raptors are playing, he's still, so into it. But he's a winner, you want guys with winning mentality, and he has that.
A lot of scouts are here. The trade deadline is coming up, and Bazemore's shot doesn't go to be interesting to see. I mean, really, at the end of the day, how much do they want to win this season? I mean, no question, right there. This is it. Lightning in the Raptors on an 8-0 run.
It's an interesting time because you're doing so much scouting on the road, because it's a great time for college basketball. The conference play is in the heat of it with matchups, and this is the time that you really start to figure out who some of these prospects are. But then all the while, the main team is in the heart of the season, and the trade deadline is right around the corner, to where we have to figure out what the Raptors need to be able to take the next step with the playoffs on the horizon. And it's just kind of both worlds colliding in terms of preparation. You have this year's team most important because the trade deadline is coming up, but then at the same time the draft is the next thing on the line as well. So you can't not scout, because you have to kind of just prep yourself throughout the season with getting to know the prospects. So it's a pretty wild time right now.
Out of Wisconsin, shot doesn't go. How about Van Fleet? I mean, what a wonderful story he is. 18 points, 15 minutes, don't doubt him. Bet on yourself, as he says.
It happens to every scout, every coach. Like, do my eyes really tell me the truth? Does my gut tell me the truth? Well, the guy wasn't drafted. I don't know. Everybody's telling me this hype guy, he's better. And then sometimes, you got to just trust that my eyes see something maybe other people don't. My gut's feeling something about this guy that other people don't. And that's what great scouts, that's what great coaches do. They show the trust, and they show the trust in their own instincts that, hey, no, this guy can play. And if I trust him and give him a chance, he'll prove me right. Here's a kid that totally deserves that. I'm thrilled for him.
His name